ओम नमो नारायण, ओम नमो नारायण,
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 ओम नमो नारायण,
ओम नमो नारायण,
ओम नमो नारायण,
ओम नमो नारायण,
ओम नमो नारायण,
ओम नमो नारायण।
ये श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। गोविंद 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 गिरधारी,
गोविंद 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 गिरधारी,
गोविंद 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 गिरधारी,
गोविंद 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 गिरधारी,
गोविंद गिरधारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
गोविंद गिरधारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
गोविंद गिरधारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
गोविंद गिरधारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
गोविंद 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 गिरधारी,
गोविंद 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 गिरधारी,
गोविंद गिरधारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
गोविंद गिरधारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
श्याम सुंदर मदन मोहन वृंदावन बिहारी,
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 वृंदावन बिहारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
वृंदावन बिहारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
वृंदावन बिहारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
वृंदावन बिहारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
गोविंद 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 गिरधारी,
गोविंद 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 गिरधारी,
गोविंद 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 गिरधारी,
गोविंद 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 गिरधारी,
गोविंद गिरधारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
गोविंद गिरधारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
गोविंद गिरधारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
गोविंद गिरधारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
श्याम सुंदर मदन मोहन वृंदावन बिहारी,
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 वृंदावन बिहारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
वृंदावन बिहारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
वृंदावन बिहारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
वृंदावन बिहारी गोवर्धन गिरधारी,
गोविंद 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 गिरधारी,
गोविंद 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 गिरधारी,
गोविंद 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 गिरधारी,
गोविंद 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 गिरधारी,
गोविंद गिरधारी,
गोविंद गिरधारी,
गोविंद गिरधारी,
गोविंद गिरधारी।
ये वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। भज मन राधे गोविंदा, भज मन राधे गोविंदा, भज मन राधे 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 गोविंदा,
भज मन राधे 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 गोविंदा,
भज मन राधे राधे
राधे राधे राधे गोविंदा
लक्ष्मण राधे 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 गोविंदा
लक्ष्मण
Hari Om. Can you all hear me and see me clearly? Thank you. This weekend, we will be opening up in person for the Balavihar. So, this will be the second attempt to open up. January, we tried, and this time I'm pretty sure the environment is quite warmed up to be able to get back in person. And already many people are like, okay, Devi Group's also in person. Give me one at a time, one step at a time, one chaos at a time to handle. Let us first start Balavihar, and then we'll open up in person for Devi Groups as well. It's about right about that corner where we will be turning into that phase. So don't get too excited and too many questions. I will announce it. But until then, we will continue having it here online, and we'll follow the same format. We'll chant Lalita Sahasranamam and then get into the Bhagavatam, third canto, Tritiya Skanda, and we will see what Kapila Mahamuni has to say to his mother Devahuti. So let us begin with 3 Oms, Sahana Vavatu, Guru Brahma, and begin today. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Let us begin with Lalita Sahasranamam. Please join me. ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं सिन्दूरारुणविग्रहां त्रिनयनां माणिक्यमौलिस्फुरत् तारानायकशेखरां स्मितमुखीमापीनवक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यां मलिपूर्णरत्नचषकं रक्तोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम् अरुणाकरुणातरङ्गिताक्षीं धृतपाशाङ्कुशपुष्पबाणचापां अणिमादिभिरावृतां मयूखैः अहमित्येव विभावये भवानीं ध्यायेत् पद्मासनस्थां विकसितवदनां पद्मपत्रायताक्षीं हेमाभां पीतवस्त्रां करकलितलसद्धेमपद्मां वराङ्गीं सर्वालङ्कारयुक्तां सततमभयदां भक्तनम्रां भवानीं श्रीविद्यां शान्तमूर्तिं सकलसुरनुतां सर्वसम्पत्प्रदात्रीं सकुङ्कुमविलेपनामलिकचुम्बिकस्तूरिकां समन्दहसितेक्षणां सशरचापपाशाङ्कुशाम् अशेषजनमोहिनीमरुणमाल्यभूषाम्बरां जपाकुसुमभासुरां जपविदौ स्मरेदम्बिकाम्। ॐ श्रीमाता श्रीमहाराज्ञी श्रीमत्सिंहासनेश्वरी चिदग्निकुण्डसम्भूता देवकार्यसमुद्यता उद्यद्भानुसहस्राभा चतुर्बाहुसमन्विता रागस्वरूपपाषाढ्या क्रोधाकाराङ्कुशोज्ज्वला मनोरूपेक्षुकोदण्डा पञ्चतन्मात्रसायका निजारुणप्रभापूरा मज्जद्ब्रह्माण्डमण्डला चम्पका शोकपुन्नागसौगन्धिकलसत्कचा कुरुविन्दमनिश्रेणी कणत्कोटीरमण्डिता अष्टमी चन्द्रविभ्राजदलिकस्थलशोभिता मुखचन्द्रकलङ्कापा मृगनाभिविशेषका वदनस्मरमाङ्गल्यगृहतोरणचिल्लिका वक्त्रलक्ष्मीपरीवाहा चलन्मीनाभलोचना नवचम्पकपुष्पाभा नासादण्डविराजिता ताराकान्तितिरस्कारी नासाभरणभासुरा कदम्बमञ्जरीक्लुप्तकर्णपूरमनोहरा ताटङ्कयुगलीभूता तपनोडुपमण्डला पद्मरागशिलादर्श परिभाविकपौलभूः नवविद्रुमबिम्बश्रीन्यक्कार्यदनच्छदा शुद्धविद्याङ्कुराकारा द्विजपङ्क्तिद्वयोज्ज्वला कर्पूरवीटिकामोदसमाकर्षिदिगन्तरा निजसल्लापमाधुर्य विनिर्भत्सितकच्छपी मन्दस्मितप्रभापूरा मज्जत्कामेशमानसा अनाकलितसादृश्य चिबुकश्रीविराजिता कामेशबद्धमाङ्गल्य सूत्रशोभितकन्दरा कनकाङ्गदकेयूरा कमनीयभुजान्विता रत्नग्रैवेयचिन्ता कलोलमुक्ता फलान्विता कामेश्वरप्रेमरत्नमणिप्रतिपनस्तनी नाभ्यालवालरोमाली लताफलकुचत्वयी लक्षरोमलताधारतासमुन्नेयमध्यमा स्तनभारदलन्मध्य पट्टबन्धवलित्रया अरुणारुणकौसुम्भ वस्त्रभास्वत्कटीतटी रत्नकिङ्किणिकारम्य रशनादामभूषिता कामेशज्ञातसौभाग्यमार्दवोरुद्वयान्विता माणिक्यमुकुटाकारा जानुद्वयविराजिता इन्द्रगोपपरिक्षिप्त स्मरतूर्णाभजङ्गिका गूढगुल्फा कूर्मपृष्ठा जयिष्णुप्रपदान्विता नखदीदिति सञ्चन्ना नमज्जनतमोगुणा पदद्वयप्रभाजाल पराकृतसरोरुहा सिञ्जानमणिमञ्जीरमण्डितश्रीपदाम्बुजा मरालीमन्दगमना महालावण्यशेवतिः सर्वारुणानवद्याङ्गी सर्वाभरणभूषिता शिवकामेश्वराङ्कस्था शिवा स्वाधीनवल्लभा सुमेरुमध्यशृङ्गस्थ श्रीमन्नगरनायिका चिन्तामणिगृहान्तस्थ पञ्चब्रह्मासनस्थिता महापद्माटवी संस्था कदम्बवनवासिनी सुधासागरमध्यस्था कामाक्षी कामदायिनी देवर्षिगणसङ्घाता स्तूयमानात्मवैभवा भण्डासुरवधोद्युक्ता शक्तिसेना समन्विता संपत्करी समारूढ़ सिंधूरव्रजसेविता अश्वारूढ़ाधिष्ठिताश्वकोटिकोटिभिरावृता चक्रराजरथारूढ़ा सर्वायुधपरिष्कृता गेयचक्ररथारूढ़ा मन्त्रिणी परिसेविता गिरिचक्ररथारूढ़ा दण्डनाथा पुरस्कृता ज्वालामालिनिकाक्षिप्तवह्निप्राकारमध्यगा भण्डसैन्यवदोद्युक्ता शक्तिविक्रमहर्षिता नित्यापराक्रमाटोपा निरीक्षणसमुत्सुका भण्डपुत्रवधोद्युक्ता बाला विक्रमनन्दिता मन्त्रिण्यम्बा विरचिता विशङ्गवदतोषिता विशुक्रप्राणहरणा वाराही वीर्यनन्दिता कामेश्वरमुखालोक कल्पितश्रीगणेश्वरा महागणेशनिर्भिन्न विघ्नयन्त्रप्रहर्षिता भण्डासुरेन्द्रनिर्मुक्तशस्त्रप्रत्यस्त्रवर्षिणी कराङ्गुलिनखोत्पन्ना नारायणदशाकृतिः महापाशुपतास्त्राग्नि निर्दग्धासुरसैनिका कामेश्वरास्त्रनिर्दग्धा सभण्डासुरशून्यका ब्रह्मोपेन्द्रमहेन्द्रादि देवसंस्तुतवैभवा हरनेत्राग्निसन्दग्धा कामसञ्जीवनौषधिः श्रीमद्वाग्भवकूटैका स्वरूपमुखपङ्कजा कण्ठादक्कटिपर्यन्तमध्यकूटस्वरूपिणी शक्तिकूटैकतापन्नकट्यदोभागधारिणी मूलमन्त्रात्मिका मूलकूटत्रयकलेवरा कुलामृतैकरसिका कुलसंकेतपालिनी कुलांगना कुलांतस्था कौलिनी कुलयोगिनी आकुला समयांतस्था समयाचार तत्पदा मूलाधारैकनिलया ब्रह्मग्रंथि विभेदिनी मणिपूरान्तरुदिता विष्णुग्रंथि विभेदिनी आज्ञाचक्रांतरालस्था रुद्रग्रंथि विभेदिनी सहस्राराम्बुजारूढ़ा सुधासाराभिवर्षिणी तटिल्लता समरुचि षट्चक्रोपरि संस्थिता महाशक्ति कुंडलिनी विसतंतु तनीयसी भवानी भावनागम्या भवारण्यकुठारिका भद्रप्रिया भद्रमूर्तिर्भक्त सौभाग्यदायिनी भक्तिप्रिया भक्तिगम्या भक्तिवश्या भयापहा शांभवी शारदाराध्या शर्वाणी शर्मदायिनी शांकरी श्रीकरी साध्वी शरच्चंद्र निभानना शातोदरी शांतिमती निराधारा निरंजना निर्लेपा निर्मला नित्या निराकारा निराकुला निर्गुणा निष्कला शांता निष्कामा निरुपप्लवा नित्यमुक्ता निर्विकारा निष्प्रपंचा निराश्रया नित्यशुद्धा नित्यबुद्धा निरवद्या निरंतरा निष्कारणा निष्कलंका निरुपाधिर्निरीश्वरा नीरागारा गमथनी निर्मदा मदनाशिनी निश्चिंता निरहंकारा निर्मोहा मोहनाशिनी निर्ममा ममता हंत्री निष्पापा पापनाशिनी निष्क्रोधा क्रोधशमनी निर्लोभा लोभनाशिनी निस्संशया संशयग्नि निर्भवा भवनाशिनी निर्विकल्पा निराबाधा निर्भेदा भेदनाशिनी निर्नाशा मृत्युमथनी निष्क्रिया निष्परिग्रहा निस्तुला नीलचिकुरा निरपाया निरत्यया दुर्लभा दुर्गमा दुर्गा दुःखहंत्री सुखप्रदा दुष्टदूरा दुराचारा शमनी दोषवर्जिता सर्वज्ञा सांद्रकरुणा समाना अधिकवर्जिता सर्वशक्तिमयी सर्वमंगला सद्गतिप्रदा सर्वेश्वरी सर्वमयी सर्वमंत्रस्वरूपिणी सर्वयंत्रात्मिका सर्वतंत्ररूपा मनोन्मनी माहेश्वरी महादेवी महालक्ष्मी मृडप्रिया महारूपा महापूज्या महापातकनाशिनी महामाया महासत्वा महाशक्तिर्महारतिः महाभोगा महेश्वर्या महावीर्या महाबला महाबुद्धिर्महासिद्धिर्महायोगेश्वरेश्वरी महातंत्रा महामंत्रा महायंत्रा महासना महायागक्रमाराध्या महाभैरवपूजिता महेश्वर महाकल्पा महातांडवसाक्षिणी महाकामेश महिषी महात्रिपुरसुंदरी चतुष्षष्ट्युपचाराढ्या चतुष्षष्टिकलामयी महाचतुष्षष्टिकोटि योगिनी गणसेविता मनुविद्या चंद्रविद्या चंद्रमंडलमध्यगा चारुरूपा चारुहासा चारुचंद्रकलाधरा चराचर जगन्नाथा चक्रराजनिकेतना पार्वती पद्मनयना पद्मराग समप्रभा पंचप्रेतासनासीना पंचब्रह्मस्वरूपिणी चिन्मयी परमानंदा विज्ञान घनरूपिणी ध्यानध्यातृध्येय रूपा धर्माधर्म विवर्जिता विश्वरूपा जागरिणी स्वपंती तैजसात्मिका सुप्ता प्राज्ञात्मिका तुर्या सर्वावस्था विवर्जिता सृष्टिकर्त्री ब्रह्मरूपा गोप्त्री गोविंदरूपिणी संहारिणी रुद्ररूपा तिरोधानकरीश्वरी सदाशिवानुग्रहदा पंचकृत्य परायणा भानुमंडल मध्यस्था भैरवी भगमालिनी पद्मासना भगवती पद्मनाभ सहोदरी उन्मेष निमिषोत्पन्न विपन्न भुवनावलिः सहस्रशीर्षवदना सहस्राक्षी सहस्रपात आब्रह्मकीट जननी वर्णाश्रम विधायिनी निजाज्ञारूप निगमा पुण्या पुण्यफलप्रदा श्रुति सीमंत सिंधूरी कृतपादाब्जधूरिका सकलागम संदोहा शुक्ति संपुटमौक्तिका पुरुषार्थप्रदा पूर्णा भोगिनी भुवनेश्वरी अंबिकानादि निधना हरिब्रह्मेन्द्र सेविता नारायणी नादरूपा नामरूप विवर्जिता ह्रींकारी ह्रीमती हृदया हेयोपादेयवर्जिता राजराजार्चिता राज्ञी रम्या राजीवलोचना रंजनी रमणी रस्या रणत्किंकिनी मेखला रमा राकेन्दुवदना रतिरूपा रतिप्रिया रक्षाकरी राक्षसग्नि रामा रमणलंपटा काम्या कामकलारूपा कदम्बकुसुमप्रिया कल्याणी जगती कंदा करुणा रससागरा कलावती कलालापा कांता कादंबरी प्रिया वरदा वामनयना वारुणी मदविह्वला विश्वाधिका वेदवेद्या विंध्याचलनिवासिनी विधात्री वेदजननी विष्णुमाया विलासिनी क्षेत्रस्वरूपा क्षेत्रेशी क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञपालिनी क्षयवृद्धिविनिर्मुक्ता क्षेत्रपाल समर्चिता विजया विमला वन्द्या वन्दारुजनवत्सला वाग्वादिनी वामकेशी वह्निमण्डलवासिनी भक्ति मत्कल्पलतिका पशुपाश विमोचनी संहृदात् शेषपाषण्ड सदाचार प्रवर्तिका तापत्रयाग्नि संतप्ता समाह्लादन चंद्रिका तरुणी तापसाराध्या तनुमध्या तमोपहा चिदिस्तत्पद लक्षार्था चिदेकरसरूपिणी स्वात्मानंदल विभूता ब्रह्माद्यानंद संतति परा प्रत्यक्षिति रूपा पश्यन्ति परदेवता मध्यमा वैखरी रूपा भक्तमानसहंसिका कामेश्वर प्राणनाडी कृतज्ञा कामपूजिता श्रृंगार रस संपूर्णा जया जालंधर स्थिता ओड्यानपीठ निलया बिंदुमंडलवासिनी रहो यागक्रमाराध्या रहस्तर्पण तर्पिता सद्य प्रसादिनी विश्वसाक्षिणी साक्षिवर्जिता षडंग देवता युक्ता षाड्गुण्य परिपूरिता नित्यक्लिन्ना निरुपमा निर्वाण सुखदायिनी नित्या षोडशिका रूपा श्रीकंठार्धशरीरिणी प्रभावती प्रभारूपा प्रसिद्धा परमेश्वरी मूल प्रकृतिरव्यक्ता व्यक्ता व्यक्ता स्वरूपिणी व्यापिनी विविधाकारा विद्या विद्या स्वरूपिणी महाकामेश नयना कुमुदाह्लाद कौमुदी भक्तहार्दतमो भेदा भानुमद्भानुसंततिः शिवदूती शिवाराध्या शिवमूर्तिर्शिवङ्करी शिवप्रिया शिवपरा शिष्टेष्टा शिष्टपूजिता अप्रमेया स्वप्रकाशा मनोवाचामगोचरा चिच्छक्तिश्चेतना रूपा जडशक्तिर्जडात्मिका गायत्री व्याहृति संध्या द्विजबृंद निषेविता तत्वासना तत्वमयी पंचकोशांतरस्थिता निस्सीम महिमा नित्य यौवना मदशालिनी मदघूर्णितरक्ताक्षी मदपाटलगण्डभूः चन्दनद्रवदिग्धाङ्गी चाम्पेयकुसुमप्रिया कुशलकोमलाकारा कुरुकुल्लाकुलेश्वरी कुलकुण्डालया कौलमार्गतत्परसेविता कुमारगणनाथाम्बा तुष्टिपुष्टिर्मतिर्धृतिः शान्तिस्वस्तिमती कान्तिर्नन्दिनी विघ्ननाशिनी तेजोवती त्रिनयना लोलाक्षी कामरूपिणी मालिनी हंसिनी माता मलयाचलवासिनी सुमुखी नलिनी शुभ्रुशोभना सुरनायिका कालकंठी कांतिमती क्षोभिणी सूक्ष्मरूपिणी वज्रेश्वरी वामदेवी वयोवस्था विवर्जिता सिद्धेश्वरी सिद्धविद्या सिद्धमाता यशस्विनी विशुद्धिचक्रनिलया रक्तवर्णा त्रिलोचना खट्वांगादिप्रहरणा वदनैकसमन्विता पायसान्नप्रिया त्वक्स्था पशुलोकभयङ्करी अमृतादिमहाशक्तिः संवृता डाकिनीश्वरी अनाहताब्जनिलया श्यामा भावदनद्वया दंशोज्ज्वलाक्षमालादिधरा रुधिरसंस्थिता कालरात्र्यादिशक्त्योघा वृता स्निग्धौधनप्रिया महावीरेन्द्रवरदा राकिन्यम्बा स्वरूपिणी मणिपूराब्जनिलया वदनत्रय संयुता वज्रादिकायुधोपेता डामर्यादिभिरावृता रक्तवर्णा मांसनिष्ठा गुडान्न प्रीतमानसा समस्त भक्त सुखदा लाकिन्यम्बा स्वरूपिणी स्वाधिष्ठानाम्बुजगता चतुर्वक्त्र मनोहरा शूलाद्यायुध संपन्ना पीतवर्णातिगर्वता मेधोनिष्ठा मधुप्रीता बन्दिन्यादिसमन्विता दध्यन्नासक्त हृदया काकिनी रूपधारिणी मूलाधाराम्बुजारूढ़ा पंचवक्त्रास्य संस्थिता अंकुशादिप्रहरणा वरदादिनिषेविता मुद्गौदनासक्त चित्ता साकिन्यम्बा स्वरूपिणी आज्ञाचक्राब्जनिलया शुक्लवर्णा षडानना मज्जा संस्था हंसवती मुख्यशक्ति समन्विता हरिद्रानैकरसिका हाकिनी रूपधारिणी सहस्रदल पद्मस्था सर्वनोपशोभिता सर्वायुधधरा शुक्ला संस्थिता सर्वतोमुखी सर्वौदनप्रीतचित्ता याकिन्यम्बा स्वरूपिणी स्वाहा स्वधामतिर्मेधा श्रुतिस्मृतिरनुत्तमा पुण्यकीर्ति पुण्यलभ्या पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना पुलोमजार्चिता बन्धमोचनी बर्बरालका विमर्शरूपिणी विद्या वेदादिजगत्प्रसूः सर्वव्याधिप्रशमनी सर्वमृत्युनिवारिणी अग्रगण्या चिन्त्यरूपा कलिकल्मषनाशिनी कात्यायनी कालहंत्री कमलाक्ष निषेविता तांबूलपूरितमुखी दाडिमी कुसुमप्रभा मृगाक्षी मोहिनी मुख्या मृडानी मित्ररूपिणी. I'll stop here, get to the book because the software has a problem. नित्यतृप्ता भक्तनिधिर्नियन्त्री निखिलेश्वरी मैत्र्यादिवासनालभ्या महाप्रलयसाक्षिणी पराशक्तिः परानिष्ठा प्रज्ञानगणरूपिणी माध्वीपानालसामत्ता मातृकावर्णरूपिणी महाकैलासनिलया मृणालमृतदुर्लता महनीया दयामूर्तिर्महासाम्राज्यशाली आत्मविद्या महाविद्या श्रीविद्या कामसेविता श्रीषोडशाक्षरी विद्या त्रिकूटा कामकोटिका कटाक्षकिङ्करी भूता कमला कोटिसेविता शिरस्थिता चंद्रनिभा भालस्तेन्द्रधनुप्रभा हृदयस्थार विप्रख्या त्रिकोणान्तरदीपिका दाक्षायणी दैत्यहन्त्री दक्षयज्ञविनाशिनी दरान्दोलित दीर्घाक्षी दरहासोज्ज्वलन्मुखी गुरुमूर्तिर्गुणनिधिर्गोमाता गुहजन्मभूः देवेशी दण्डनीतिस्था दहराकाशरूपिणी प्रतिपन्मुख्यराकान्त्यतिथिमण्डलपूजिता कलात्मिका कलानाथा काव्यालापा विनोदिनी सचामररमावाणी सव्यदक्षिणसेविता आदिशक्तिरमेयात्मा परमा पावनाकृतिः अनेककोटिब्रह्माण्ड जननी दिव्यविग्रहा क्लीङ्कारी केवला गुह्या कैवल्यपददायिनी त्रिपुरात जगद्वन्द्या त्रिमूर्तिस्थितशेश्वरी त्रक्षरी दिव्यगन्धाढ्या सिन्धूरतिलकाञ्चिता उमा शैलेन्द्रतनया गौरी गन्धर्वसेविता विश्वगर्भा स्वर्णगर्भा वरदा वागधीश्वरी ध्यानगम्या परिच्छेद्या ज्ञानदा ज्ञानविग्रहा सर्ववेदान्तसंवेद्या सत्यानन्दस्वरूपिणी लोपामुद्रार्चिता लीला क्लुप्तब्रह्माण्डमण्डला अदृश्यादृश्यरहिता ज्ञात्री वेद्यवर्जिता योगिनी योगदा योग्या योगानन्दा युगन्धरा इच्छाशक्ति ज्ञानशक्ति क्रियाशक्ति स्वरूपिणी सर्वाधारा सुप्रतिष्ठा सदसद्रूपधारिणी अष्टमूर्तिरजा जैत्री लोकयात्रा विधायिनी एकाकिनी भूमरूपा निर्द्वैताद्वैतवर्जिता अन्नदा वसुधा वृद्धा ब्रह्मात्मैक्यस्वरूपिणी बृहती ब्राह्मणी ब्राह्मी ब्रह्मानंदा बलिप्रिया भाषारूपा बृहत्सेना भावा भाव विवर्जिता सुखाराध्या शुभकरी शोभना सुलभागतिः राजराजेश्वरी राज्यदायिनी राज्यवल्लभा राजत्कृपा राजपीठा निवेशितनिशाश्रिता राज्यलक्ष्मी कोशनाथा चतुरंगबलेश्वरी साम्राज्यदायिनी सत्यसन्धा सागरमेखला दीक्षिता दैत्यशमनी सर्वलोकवशङ्करी सर्वार्थदात्री सावित्री सच्चिदानन्दरूपिणी देशकाला परिच्छिन्ना सर्वगा सर्वमोहिनी सरस्वती शास्त्रमयी गुहाम्बा गुह्यरूपिणी सर्वोपाधिविनिर्मुक्ता सदाशिवपतिव्रता सम्प्रदायेश्वरी साध्वी गुरुमण्डलरूपिणी कुलोत्तीर्णा भगाराध्या माया मधुमतीमही गणाम्बा गुह्यकाराध्या कोमलांगी गुरुप्रिया स्वतंत्रा सर्वतंत्रेशी दक्षिणामूर्तिरूपिणी सनकादिसमाराध्या शिवज्ञानप्रदायिनी चित्कलानंदकलिका प्रेमरूपा प्रियंकरी नामपारायण प्रीता नंदिविद्या नटेश्वरी मिथ्या जगदधिष्ठान्ना मुक्तिदा मुक्तिरूपिणी लास्यप्रिया लयकरी लज्जारंबादिवंदिता भवदावसुधावृष्टिः पापारण्यदवानला दौर्भाग्यतूलवातूला जराध्वान्तरविप्रभा भाग्याब्धिचन्द्रिका भक्तचित्तकेकी घनाघना रोगपर्वतदम्बोलिर्मृत्युदारु कुठारिका महेश्वरी महाकाली महाग्रासा महासना अपर्णा चंडिका चण्डमुण्डासुरनिषूदिनी क्षराक्षरात्मिका सर्वलोकेशी विश्वधारिणी त्रिवर्गदात्री सुभगा त्र्यंबका त्रिगुणात्मिका स्वर्गापवर्गदा शुद्धा जपा पुष्पनिभाकृतिः ओजोवती द्युतिधरा यज्ञरूपा प्रियव्रता दुराराध्या दुराधर्षा पाटली कुसुमप्रिया महती मेरुनिलया मंदार कुसुमप्रिया वीराराध्या विराडरूपा विरजा विश्वतोमुखी प्रत्यग्रूपा पराकाशा प्राणदा प्राणरूपिणी मार्ताण्डभैरवाराध्या मन्त्रिणी न्यस्तराज्यदूः त्रिपुरेशी जयत्सेना निस्त्रैगुण्या परापरा सत्यज्ञानानन्दरूपा सामरस्य परायणा कपर्दिनी कलामाला कामधुक्कामरूपिणी कलानिधिः काव्यकला रसज्ञा रससेवधिः पुष्टा पुरातना पूज्या पुष्करा पुष्करेक्षणा परञ्ज्योतिः परन्धामा परमाणुः परात्परा पाशहस्ता पाशहन्त्री परमन्त्रविभेदिनी मूर्ता मूर्ता नित्यतृप्ता मुनिमानसंसिका सत्यव्रता सत्यरूपा सर्वान्तर्यामिनी सती ब्रह्माणी ब्रह्मजननी बहुरूपा बुधार्चिता प्रसवित्री प्रचण्डाज्ञा प्रतिष्ठा प्रकटाकृतिः प्राणेश्वरी प्राणदात्री पंचाशत्पीठरूपिणी विशृंखला विविक्तस्था वीरमाता वियत्प्रसूः मुकुंदा मुक्तिनिलया मूलविग्रहरूपिणी भावज्ञा भवरोगग्नि भवचक्रप्रवर्तिनी छन्दस्सारा शास्त्रसारा मंत्रसारा तलोदरी उदारकीर्तिरुद्धामा वैभवावर्णरूपिणी जन्म मृत्यु जरा तप्ता जन विश्रांतिदायिनी सर्वोपनिषद उत्कृष्टा शांत्यातीता कलात्मिका गंभीरा गगनांतस्था गर्विता गानलोलुपा कल्पना रहिता काष्ठा कांता कांतार्थ विग्रहा कार्य कारण निर्मुक्ता कामकेली तरंगिता कनत कनकताटंका लीला विग्रहधारिणी अजाक्षय विनिर्मुक्ता मुग्धा क्षिप्र प्रसादिनी अंतर्मुख समाराध्या बहिर्मुख सुदुर्लभा त्रयी त्रिवर्ग निलया त्रिस्था त्रिपुरमालिनी निरामया निरालंबा स्वात्मा रामा सुधा श्रुति संसार पंक निर्मग्ना समुद्धरण पंडिता यज्ञ प्रिया यज्ञकर्त्री यजमान स्वरूपिणी धर्माधारा धनाध्यक्षा धनधान्य विवर्धिनी विप्रप्रिया विप्ररूपा विश्वभ्रमणकारिणी विश्वग्रासा विद्रुमाभा वैष्णवी विष्णुरूपिणी अयो निर्योनि निलया कूटस्था कुलरूपिणी वीरगोष्ठी प्रिया वीरा नैष्कर्म्यानादरूपिणी विज्ञानकलनाकल्या विदग्धा वैन्दवासना तत्त्वाधिका तत्त्वमयी तत्त्वमर्थस्वरूपिणी सामगानप्रिया सौम्या सदाशिव कुटुम्बिनी सव्यापसव्य मार्गस्था सर्वापद्विनिवारिणी स्वस्था स्वभाव मधुरा धीरा धीर समर्चिता चैतन्यार्घ्य समाराध्या चैतन्य कुसुम प्रिया सदोदिता सदा तुष्टा तरुणादित्य पाटला दक्षिणा दक्षिणाराध्या दरस्मेर मुखाम्बुजा कौलिनी केवलानर्घ्या कैवल्यप्रदायिनी स्तोत्र प्रिया स्तुतिमती श्रुति संस्तुत वैभवा मनस्विनी मानवती महेशी मंगलाकृतिः विश्वमाता जगद्धात्री विशालाक्षी विरागिनी प्रगल्भा परमोदारा परामोदा मनोमयी व्योमकेशी विमानस्था वज्रणी वामकेश्वरी पंचयज्ञप्रिया पंच प्रेतमंचाधिशायिनी पंचमी पंचभूतेशी पंचसंख्योपचारिणी शाश्वती शाश्वतैश्वर्या शर्मदा शंभुमोहिनी धरा धरसुता धन्या धर्मिणी धर्मवर्धिनी लोकातीता गुणातीता सर्वातीता शमात्मिका बंधुक कुसुम प्रख्या बाला लीला विनोदिनी सुमंगली सुखकरी सुवेशाढ्या सुवासिनी सुवासिन्यर्चन प्रीता शोभना शुद्धमानसा बिंदुतर्पण संतुष्टा पूर्वजा त्रिपुरांबिका दशमुद्रा समाराध्या त्रिपुरा श्रीवशंकरी ज्ञानमुद्रा ज्ञानगम्या ज्ञानज्ञेय स्वरूपिणी योनिमुद्रा त्रिखंडेशी त्रिगुणांबा त्रिकोणगा अनघाद्भुत चारित्र्या वांछितार्थप्रदायिनी अभ्यासादिशयज्ञाता शरद्ध्वातीतरूपिणी अव्याजकरुणामूर्तिर्ज्ञानध्वान्तदीपिका आबालगोपविदिता सर्वानुल्यङ्घशासना श्रीचक्रराजनिलया श्रीमत्त्रिपुरसुन्दरी श्रीशिवा शिवशक्त्यैक्या रूपिणी ललिताम्बिका एवं श्रीललितादेव्या नाम्नां साहस्रकं जगुः इति श्रीब्रह्माण्डपुराणे उत्तरखण्डे श्रीहयग्रीवागस्त्य संवादे श्रीललिता सहस्रनामस्तोत्रं सम्पूर्णम्. Give me 2 minutes, I'll be just back. Can you hear me now? Okay. We are in the Tritiya Skanda, in the 25th Adhyaya or chapter, where Devahuti ji, the mother, she herself comes to Kapila Mahamuni and asks him very specific questions. So we'll start that after the invocation. So please join me in the invocation. Satchidananda Rupaya विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव। पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतः चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयः यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमः निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम्। श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तक्षणात्। निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। So when Devahuti ji very specifically asks that, Hey Purushottama, Hey Prabhu, and she's addressing her own son, Hey Adi Purusha, how does somebody like me who has such deep identity with the body, dehe gehe shuva, meaning in the body or in the things that which I am attached to, how does one get out of this? Because I have tried, I have severely failed at my trials in getting beyond this bodily identification or the attachment to the other worldly things. So, what would you suggest for such a one who is almost a mandabuddhi? Is there a scope? So, Kapila Mahamuni Ji says to his mother, Hey Mata, this Adhyatma Yoga sadhana, we have seen the first 4 or 5 shlokas. This Adhyatma Yoga sadhana, the purpose of it is not to make your life better. It is to transcend all these materialistic experiences once and for all. Sukha, dukkha, both of this has to be transcended. Sukhasya cha, dukkhasya cha. Otherwise, the whole life, what we can categorize our experiences is we either are moving from trying desperately to move away from dukkha nivritti, like to do the nivarana of dukkha. We are not moving away from dukkha nivritti. We are moving away from dukkha, which is called dukkha nivritti, and we want to be in a secured environment of sukha and its prapti. So there is always tension. What if this sukha is reducing? What if this sukha is destroyed? What if this sukha is... These joys will be transient, which will be temporary by nature. There is no permanency. So we keep tossing between, like the pendulum, between this dukkha and sukha, and the moment we reach to this, that which can accommodate us for sukha, we call that as an accomplishment. Ye, great achievement. But here Kapila Mahamuni says, very, very opening remark. He says, Yoga Adhyatmikaha Pumsam Mato Nishreyasayame is meant for Nishreyasa. Nishreyasa Mukti Hetu. Nothing less than that. To transcend and go beyond all these limitations. Tamimam te pravakshami yamavocham puranaghe, and this knowledge was given way beyond, like just before the creation could begin. I gave it to Narada Mahamuni and various other people that were there. That same knowledge I am giving it to you also. And do not have to be in this kind of a desperation which you have asked the question in. I'll tell you one important thing, he says. The key and the lock is your own mind. Chetaha khalu asya bandhaya muktaye cha atmanaha matam. For bandha and mukti, your own mind is the solution. You stay bound because of your own mind. You stay liberated because of your own mind. Now, which side do you want to be? That is in your hands as a sadhaka. As I said even last week, whenever Bhagavan speaks, whatever new concept that he introduces, he explains it immediately. So one might say, wait a second, what do you mean by bondage? And what do you mean by liberation? So he says, Guneshu saktam bandhaya ratam va pumsi muktaye. Guneshu saktam. Those who are bound by these three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamo guna, they are considered as bound. And those who are ratam va pumsi muktaye, those who want this mukti, they will have to find this heart soaked in devotion. That is the first step. That is the first preliminary step. That prepped mind which is now ready can definitely remove this ajnana and once and for all find that moksha. Ratam va pumsi muktaye. So now moving into the 17th shloka. Tada purusha atmanam kevalam prakritev param nirantaram swayam jyotihi animanam akhanditam. I don't know why people misread this in any other way. It says tada purusha atmanam kevalam prakritehe param. There is one kevala tattva. Kevala tattva, the non-dual. If you go to a place and say, I am the only, you climbed Mount Everest. I am the only person here. What does it mean? दूजा कोई नहीं है वहां पे. There is no second. Duja meaning second. I am by myself. One without kevala. Kevalam prakritehe param. I am that which is beyond Prakriti, but which is also the adhara, the substratum of this Prakriti. Yo, you are all alone, ah. So you feel bored, you feel anxious, you feel no. Nirantaram Swayam Jyotihi. I am the very source of all illumination with which you make light and shadow in your field of world. I am the very source of it, and I don't have to be bored. Why? My very nature is Ananda. Those who do not have this Ananda as an experience, they have these intermediary phases in their minds as boredom or anxiety or fear. I am the very nature of Ananda. Nirantaram Swayam Jyotihi Animanam Akhanditam. And I am one uniform homogeneous mass of existence, which cannot be shattered or broken into pieces. What are we reading? What are we studying? Bhagavatam, Bhakti Rasayana Grantha. And there he clearly is saying, people make these statements, oh, Advaita Vedanta Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya invented. Bhagavan Bhashyakara came way later. This was given by Kapila Mahamuni to Devahuti as written down by Bhagavan Vedavyasji. So it is in that Bhakti Rasayana Grantha where it is very clearly being said about that one immutable, indestructible truth, which is the substratum. Now, how does one find and abide in this, which is our true nature? So he says, Jnana Vairagya Yuktena Bhakti Yuktena Chatmana Paripashyad Yudasinam Prakritim Cha Hataujasam. Jnana Vairagya Yuktena Bhakti Yuktena Chatmana. There has to be Jnana and Vairagya. And it has to be, as said earlier, soaked in Bhakti. Such one has stable platform. Now, if you, this is like cheating, okay? Like when you're reading a novel, you go to the last chapter and read what is happening in the end, and read that portion, and then come back and now sit confidently and read through the entire thing. I don't know if you have ever done that. I don't like to, but I have seen people do that. So in the very last shloka, 43rd shloka, the second line, you will see, Kshemaya padamulam me praveshyantya kuto bhayam. The purpose of this bhakti, what is it that we can achieve? Kshema and abhaya. There is nowhere else that there can be security. Have you seen these ocean series? Ocean 11, Ocean 12, Ocean 13, where their job is to rob the most secured places. Whatever be the reason and emotion, their job is to rob the most secured places. Constantly, that is the theme. Now, once you see that, and then look at the house door knob that you have as a sense of security and protection for the entire house. Once you see that movie and look at that doorknob, and you will laugh. Kutoyam agnihi. Where is this small little doorknob? If somebody wants to, this will not stop them. Similarly, there is this entire creation where we constantly anchor ourselves. We throw our tentacles in, latch onto that world, and get completely attached to it. And it becomes like our, now if you don't use a certain bone or a muscle, it becomes frozen. So we get frozen into that, into our very sense of attachment, and to pull out of it becomes extremely difficult. Now, how does one pull out of it? To find that the greatest security is not in these kinds of settled attachments, but there is only one, and that one is my everything. Mata Pita Bandhu Sakha Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. We chant, right? At the end of Guru Stotram, every week, week after week, year after year. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva. That you are my mother, father, sibling, brother, sister. You are my friend, Sakha, BFF, best friend forever. Now, I would not even say best, there is a variety to choose from. The only friend ever. Now, that bhakti is explained here. न युज्यमानया भक्त्या भगवत्यखिलात्मनि सदृशोऽस्ति शिवः पन्था योगिनां ब्रह्मसिद्धये प्रसङ्गमजरं पाशम् आत्मनः कवयो विदुः स एव साधुषु कृतः मोक्षद्वारमपावृतम्. Yes, there are many Mahatmas who say that any kind of attachment is bad, but the attachment to a sadhu purusha is a doorway to this bhakti jnana vairagya, having which your moksha is ascertained. If at all you have to be attached to anything, find such sadhu and such sadhu minded individual and completely surrender unto their feet. Now, what does this bhakti do? 19th shloka explains it very beautifully. It says, Na yujyamana manaya bhaktya bhagavatyakhil sadrishosti shivah panthaha yoginam brahma siddhaye. This is the Shivah Pantha. Not, it is not to be interpreted as the Shiva Marga. Shiva Pantha here means the most auspicious path. Shiva means Shubhakara. So that is the meaning taken here. So the most Mangalamaya pathway to Bhagavan is where we invoke that bhakti and relate to that Bhagavan as Sarvasva. Nothing less than that. Now, what is that Sarvasva and who is this sadhu? That sadhutva is also defined here. Because when we go through something bad, I say, I have not even hurt a ant, Swamiji. Why does this happen to me? And you may not have hurt the ant, but dinosaurs you have killed many. I have not stepped onto an amoeba also in my life. But there are other things that. So, who is a sadhu? It is not a self declaration, Yes, it is subjective. But who is a sadhu? What is the parameter? That is given here. It says, Titikshavaha, 21st shloka. Titikshavaha karunikaha suhridaha sarvadehinam ajata shatravaha shantaha sadhava sadhubhushanaha. Titikshavaha. Who is Titikshavaha? The one who has patience. How much? Stronger than the mountains. Vivekananda used to say, with will you can definitely move mountains, provided your will is stronger than the mountain. So your patience, see, titiksha means actually endurance. Now why am I linking it with patience? You can endure something only if you have patience. While you are at it, you have the presence of mind, samaya spurti. You have the presence of mind to have something as a time pass which can humor yourself also and others around while you are enduring it. Otherwise, when endurance happens, frustration, like anything that you see, bow, 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 you'll be barking at them. Titikshavaha, to endure you need patience. And what is the word for patience? Dhiraha, courageous one. So who will have this titiksha? The one who has patience. Patience, which is mountainous. That it is not fidgety. Constantly, inside fidgety, outside fidgety, constantly jumping here and there. Titiksha, patience, endured with patience. Karunikaha. Sometimes when we have no other choice, we just clench our teeth and go through, and that going through is more of a suffering rather than endurance. So born out of that suffering, what happens is there is bitterness spewed all across. You are at everybody's throat at every single time. With yourself, you are very, very tough. With the world around, in comparison, karunikaha, deal with compassion. And when I say the world, you don't need to jump out and try to find who should I shower my compassion upon. No, start with your own family, your own responsibilities. And what does compassion mean? To have the empathy to experience that which they must be going through in the shoes that they are in, and to be able to understand that, assimilate that, and be there to provide any sense of relief or support or comfort to them while going through what they are going through. And for which you have to transcend a lot to be able to appreciate it from that end. And if underneath you are like clenching your own teeth and then like, my life sucks, my life is such bitter, and when somebody comes by, you don't have that, neither the patience with yourself, not with them. What comes out is, as I said earlier, bow, bow, bow. You're barking at them. You're distancing them. You're at their throats. Karunika. Suhridaha sarvadehinam. Towards everyone. Towards that who is maybe trying to grow in the path of spirituality, there are those who are ignorant about it. You cannot stand on a pedestal. Oh, I am not like them, I do Saturday, I do my one meal upvas. I skip my lunch. I'm way spiritual than the rest of them there. No, you cannot be judgmental about anybody from any standpoint. Suhridaha sarvadehinam. And not just human beings, towards the plants, towards the animals, towards the, like, first of all, don't go out there killing them. Worst of all, as a sport. Sarvadehina. This is the beauty of our Sanatana Dharma. When we pray, when we invoke, when we even have to try growing, it is not just love thy neighbor. बाकी सब भाड़ में जाए. No, it is towards all that you come across. That doesn't mean that tomorrow there is a copperhead crawling somewhere and you go and try to give it a hug. Why? Suhridaha sarvadehinam. Swamiji said, the best way to show your love towards that deha is to let it be and you stay at a distance. Don't disturb its space. समझ में आ रहा है? सुहृदा सर्वदेहिनाम अजाता शत्रवः. This is the most difficult part. You do whatever in this world. People are ready to point fingers at you. And we are so good at it, we have not even spared Bhagavan Rama or Krishna. As though we stand on a high ground of morality to point fingers at them. औकात नहीं है हमारी. औकात, we don't have a standpoint to point fingers at Bhagavan. Why did Rama do this? First of all, he is not your langotia yaar, Bhagavan Sri Ramchandra ji. Why did Rama do this? Which Rama? N.T. Rama Rao? Junior N.T. Rama Rao? Which Rama? No, that Ayodhya Pati, Sita Pati. Oh, then Bhagavan Sri Ramchandra ji. This Ajata Shatrutva, that which was probably even difficult for भगवान, भगवान के लिए मुश्किल है, भक्त के लिए मुश्किल नहीं है. Therefore, you see Balakanda, you see Ayodhya Kanda, you see Aranya Kanda, you see all different Kanda, but that which is regarding Hanumanji, it is called Sundar Kanda. Why? Of course, Bhagavan is Sundara. More Sundar than Bhagavan is his Bhakta. Why? Blemishless character. How is he? There is no blemish there. People tried pointing fingers at Sita ji, Ram ji, Lakshman ji. What is Lakshman? What did Lakshman ji do? He is the angry fellow. Hanuman ji, Ajata Shatru. That there is no Shatrutva with anybody. Because this world is very funny. तो क्या है गाना है ना? This is the second satsang where I am repeating this song, I guess. कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना. Don't ask me to sing, okay? The people are. So even if there is somebody trying to do the best, we will try finding a flaw in it. There are those people, right? Those who come to every wedding, especially from the boys' side. Even if the girls' side have done everything, bending over the back and trying to provide for, they'll have सब कुछ अच्छा था पर खाना ज्यादा खिला दिया. Who asked you to eat? पान थोड़ा मीठा हो गया था. मैं थोड़ा भर दूं कान के नीचे से सब ठीक हो जाएगा फिर. For everything that you do or don't, there is going to be a standpoint. And in such a world, to be Ajata Shatru is next to impossibility. But sadhu is that who, even in such a situation, will not have that kind of animosity or enmity towards probably even those who are trying to harm him. You might have heard of that story, right? There is this little whirlpool in which a scorpion was drowning, and this person was trying to pick it up and throw it on shore. Every time he would pick, a scorpion doesn't know better. It keeps stinging this. So finally, he just scoops everything out and throws. There's another fellow, his junior. He looks at him and laughs. Bewakoof. Marna tha. Let it, you should have let it die. Why? This is, stinging is its nature. To protect even that and put it on shore should have been my nature, and that is what I tried doing. That is a sadhutva. Very easy to lose that track of that focal point. Very easy. The world will frustrate you to a point. But to not carry that enmity or vengeance and to stand above that and function, quite an achievement. Ajata Shatravaha. Finally, Shantaha Sadhavaha Sadhu Bhushanaha. Such Shanta Purusha is called a sadhu. Now, such a sadhu, when you are close to, you get the gateway to Jnana, Vairagya, Bhakti. What does that kind of bhakti mean? Because there are enough people in these kinds of clothes where the sadhutva is assumed. Right? There also Bhagavan is saying, this is what you need to see the result in your taste of bhakti as a sadhaka. What is that? This sadhu satsanga should take us to this bhakti wherein it feels like it is taken from Bhagavad Gita, but it is the other way around. Bhagavad Gita is taken from here. Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita is quoting this Sankhya. Sankhya, many people talk about only the Jnana portion. No, Bhakti is also equally spoken. मयि अनन्येन भावेन भक्तिं कुर्वन्ति ये दृढां मत्कृते कर्मणः त्यक्त्य स्वजनबान्धवाः मदाश्रयाः कथामृष्टाः शृण्वन्ति कथयन्ति च तपन्ति विविधास्तापाः नैतान् मद्गतचेतसः तयेते साधवः साध्वी sarvasanga vivarjitaha. How should the mind be? In Bhagavad Gita we have seen Maichananya Yogena, where the bhakti is so strong that I am the one, meaning Bhagavan is saying, I am the one that is invoked, I am the one that is thought, I am the one that is felt about, I am the one that is the very center of their life. I am the one that they circle around in every aspect of their living moment. Such bhakti, meaning in everything that we involve in, we see nothing but Bhagavan. Now, what does this seeing Bhagavan do? Devahuti asks in the 28th shloka, Hey Bhagavan, this seems to be quite a challenge, quite a difficult task to find such kind of a sadhu, to find such kind of a satsanga, and to find this jnana, vairagya and bhakti. Is there a method? 29th shloka. Yo yogaha bhagavad banaha nirvanatma atman tvayoditaha. Yo yogaha bhagavat banaha. Is there a solution like an arrow that penetrates through and through this avidya, which is the cause for this kama and karma, that which penetrates Bhagavat Banaha? Is there a yoga like that? Oh, we can start a new branch now. Bhagavat Ban Yoga, as demanded by Devahuti ji. Yo yogaha bhagavat banaha. Probably that is why nirvana means, somebody defined it saying nirbana, that which is beyond the reach of this bana, which is atma jnana. Is there a method to it? And she says, let me tell you my capacity. And it is always good to know one's own capacity also. Tadetanme vijanahi yathaham mandhadi hare sukham buddheya durbodham yosha bhavadanugrahat. He says, Hey Bhagavan, please teach me that because I am not that uh, sharp intellect. So somebody even like me, is there a method? So Bhagavan says, O mother, there is, first of all, from that very flesh and blood from who you have been born, when with such sincerity this kind of a question is being asked, Kapila Mahamuni Ji was like, Jata snehaha yatra tanu abhijataha. Jata sneha means the heart was like filled with love for his mother for asking such a sincere question. So to such mother, he says, O mother, there is only one method. And this one method, what does it do? He says, 33rd sloka, second line, Jarayatya shuya kosham nigirnam analo yatha. After this class, I'm guessing all of us will go to the lunch table and do Brahmarpanam and then Swaha, Aha, done. Once the food goes inside, all kinds of food go inside, right? Jatharagni burns everything down. Jatharagni, the fire in the pit of our stomach, there's a comparison given. Like the fire in the Yaga Kunda, which consumes everything, similarly, like this Jatharagni consumes, similar to this Jatharagni. This Bhagavad Bana that you are asking, O mother, is one amazing method with which the Linga Sharira gets, Linga Sharira or the Karana Sharira, the Sukshma Sharira gets burnt, wiped away. So let that method be known to you. And what is that method? He says, when somebody invokes devotion towards Bhagavan, it should not be from the standpoint of getting a certain result from Bhagavan. Now, all of us who are very famous for our demand Ashtakam, constantly we go to Bhagavan and we have this demand, that demand, this comparison, that comparison, and this adjustment, that adjustment. And in that same stretch, he mentions here that he is a true devotee who does not even seek Sayujya, Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, nothing of those kinds. Then one might say, then why am I doing this bhakti for anyway then, if not for this? Even that Sayujya, Salokya, Sarupya, Samupya would be considered as Rajasic. Then why should I be doing bhakti? It is for Bhagavat Truptyartha. 34th shloka, he says, Sabhajayante mama paurushani. Those who do not invoke this for any other thing other than the bhakti for Bhagavan's sake, nothing else. Pashyanti te me ruchirani amba santaha. Hey mother, when such sadhu purusha where they care nothing else. Supposing they see a beautiful place, beautiful face, beautiful eyes, beautiful flowers, everything kind of reminds them of that Bhagavan himself, their Ishtadeva himself. It is said that whenever Ramakrishna Paramahamsa ji used to say take shower and suddenly see a heavy cloud, a dark heavy cloud, he would just stand there and be in a trance because the color reminded him of his mother Kali, and he would be transfixed right there, sometimes in the river, sometimes in the garden, sometimes just outside his room. He would just be transfixed looking at that because the color looked like and reminded of mother. Guru Nanak ji, they say that he was seeing this beautiful young girl who had been brought for blessings, and the mother asked Babaji, what do you see? He says, if the created is this beautiful, how beautiful is the creator himself? We keep hearing stories. So the bhakta sadhu lakshana is in and through everything. And isn't that what we have learnt in the 10th and 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Yad vibhuti mat sattvam Shrimad Bhagawatam. Wherever you see this grandeur in this creation, understand that it is the expression of that Paramatma himself. Swamiji, nobody, I tell you, nobody helped me. It was a spark of my brain, I tell you. It's right there. Even that spark is the expression of that Brahman, and you don't take a wrong credit for it. Attribute it as that Paramatma Shakti expressing. Wherever there is that grandeur, brilliance. If we stick to these simple sadhanas, before you realize, your mind is transfixed on that Bhagavan. When you go into miniatures, it is even more mind-boggling. If you pay close attention, after a severe wind and storm-like environment last summer, I went outside because the jasmine creeper had just clung to the rope that or a thread that I had put, and it was trying to grow. The leaves are fallen, there are branches that are twisted. This little link of this jasmine, very tender, hanging on, clasping onto that little thread. वो तो ऐसे ही है. If you look at these kinds of miniatures and go into details, every aspect is a miraculous beauty. We talk of electricity and its great, amazing benefits, right? Right since the time that we are born until we are done, in our heart, there is an electric current that passes, there is a shock that passes which keeps the valves open and close and open and close in timely manner. Not born out of chaos. This whole creation is not born out of chaos. It's a cosmos, a very systematic expression. So in and through everything that we see, when we get this attitude of seeing that Bhagavan in and through everything, such a mind When we want to talk of Bhagavan's Nama Sankirtana, we are ashamed to wear our tilak. Why? I'm going into a different kind of I shouldn't be wearing it. It doesn't match my jeans. What about your jeans? Now think of that person so mature in the mind that he is not ashamed of sitting in any kind of environment, and only thing that they are busy or ready to talk about is Bhagavan and Bhagavat Sankirtana. When such mindset happens, mature happens, understand that there is bhakti. Otherwise, when there is this awkwardness, wherever there is that awkwardness, understand it is a mind functioning, it is not divine functioning. When that mind is completely absorbed into that process of devotion, there is only tanmayata, oneness. Now, why is this kind of bhakti required? Bhakti removes that linga sharira identification. What does upasana do? It weakens our identity with this body, with this equipment of BMI from the external. From the internal, it is the thing that provides a safe platform of what? Kshema and abhayatvam. Now, once that sanctuary of peace is created within, a Hanuman is born, a devotee is born, where throw whatever big, however big be the challenge, you will grow 10 folds bigger than that problem and squish it, fold it, flick it, and come back. Isn't that what he did with Surasa? She became 8-fold, he became 16-fold, she became 32-fold, he then became 64 folds, and then she suddenly became larger than that. That devotee is born. Once that stability is gained, then anything that which you are talking as the spiritual foundation is built on this stability. There is no going back. There may be a slip one or twice, but you don't lose it all because of that stable environment. That safety net has to be created, and that is called Bhakta's texture of mindset. And he's saying, oh mother, this Bhakta's texture of mindset is verily Bhagavat Bana, because it is in this stability that you can find moksha nathu anyata. Whether it is in Bhagavad Gita, whether it is in Bhagavatam, the message is similar. Tatra ekagram manah kritva, having gotten your mind into one single pointed focal environment, then gliding happens, meditation happens, being one with divine happens. With this stability alone, that moksha can happen. And this is possible. This is not something which is, oh my God, I don't know how to get there. It is in your own hand, it's in your own mind. How you modulate it. Few rough corners here and there. Sit down patiently and constantly file it. Then it becomes the perfect tool for that divine to express through. Are you that Hanuman ready? Okay, I'll stop here. We'll continue from the next chapter next week. Is Sushma Amma there? Ha, Sushma ji. Hari Amma.
हरिओम स्वामी जी।
जी नहीं।
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारि बरनउँ रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरऊ कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपी सतिहु लोक उजागर रामदूता तुलित बलधामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ व्रज और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मुंज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन विद्यावान गुणियति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा बिकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हर शिवर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोज सगावे अस कह श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिखपाल जहाते कवि कोविद कह सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्त्र जोजन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचर जनाहि दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपे तीनों लोक हाकते कापे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबरपुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्त न धरई हनुमत से ई सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरै हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गुसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय मह डेरा। की जय नाथ हृदय मह डेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।
Thank you, Ma.
You welcome.
ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। Take care everyone. हरि ओम।